Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. Miss you guys again, as always. Really miss catching up with you guys. Feel free to shoot me an email or a Google post of some things going on, or if you haven't already, post onto one of my posts that I've done with my little bit of check-ins with you guys. Let me know what's going on. So to get going with today's notes, we're talking Thursday, um, April 23rd, still working with volume, taking our time with it. There's no rush. What we're going to do is it says find the missing dimension of the cylinder to the nearest unit. So we are again working with cylinder, so I'm going to find that on our um, formula sheet right here. And let me read the first problem. It says the volume is about 237 and height is 3. They want to know what is your radius. So we're going to find our radius and we're going to make sure that we round it to the nearest unit. Okay, so that'll be the nearest whole number. So let's start by recapping the volume formula. We have volume is equal to pi r squared h. And I'm going to substitute 237 in for the volume. That is coming from about pi r squared, and then my height is 3. So put 3 in for your h. Okay, so this is very similar to Wednesday's notes where we are going to solve for the radius. That's our goal, is to isolate r. And the first thing that we're going to do to isolate r is we're going to do the inverse operation of this 3. So what that means is I have multiplying by 3 or times 3, and we're going to do the opposite operation. So the opposite of that is to divide, because when I do 3 divided by 3, that gives me 1. Okay, in essence, it cancels to get that r by itself. But the rule is whenever we work with equal signs, that if we do it to one side, we have to do it to the other. That's the properties of equality with our equal signs. And so since I divided by 3 on the right, that canceled. On the left, I'm going to do 237 divided by 3, and I get 79. So I'll go ahead and write down 79 about pi r squared. My next step here is going to be to keep getting this r by itself. And if I have pi times r, again, we are going to do the inverse operation. That is the opposite operation, which is to divide. And the reason I do that, pi divided by pi, it gives me 1. So in essence, it cancels. But since we are working with an equal sign, if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other, properties of equality. And I'm going to go ahead and do 79 divided by pi. And I'm going to round to the nearest unit because that's what the directions say. Even though I'm getting this decimal, I think we'll just round to the nearest unit. So I get 25. 25 is equal to about r squared. Okay. And if you remember from yesterday's notes, okay, and I'm going to write this down again, the opposite of squaring is square root. Okay. And again, we used this when we were working with Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so you saw that how do we get rid of squaring something? We take the square root, and if we do it to one side, we have to do it to the other. So our r gets isolated, and it's going to be equal to, and so again, we're going to use our calculator. We can go ahead and do second x squared, type in 25. The square root of 25 is 5. And so this is the answer for this first one. Okay. I almost asked, are there any questions? Just purely out of habit. I wish I could be there to answer them for you. All right, let's go ahead and try number 2. So number 2, if V is approximately 2,142 and H equals 14, what is R? So again, we're solving for R when we are given the volume and the height. And so when we're given volume, we're going to use the volume formula. So recopy, V equals pi R squared H. Then we'll make our substitution. So 2,142 in for V, which is equal to about pi R squared, we don't know R, times my height, which is 14. We're going to continue the same steps to isolate R. So if I have times 14, we're going to do the opposite, the inverse, which is to divide. 14 divided by 14 is 1. So in essence, it does cancel. And remember, properties of equality. If I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other. And so let's go ahead and calculate that. 2,142 divided by 14, okay, 153. So I'll copy that down. 153 is equal to about pi R squared. From here, to keep isolating R, okay, if I have pi times R squared, I'm going to do the inverse operation. The inverse is to divide. Okay, if I do it to one side, we do it to the other. On the right, pi divided by pi is 1. So again, that in essence, that cancels, and we get that R squared by itself. But on the left side, we're going to have to calculate 153 divided by pi. Okay, and we're going to round to the nearest unit. So if I have 48 and 7/10, I'm going to round that up to 49. Rounding to the nearest unit. Now my last step here, again, hopefully it's a reminder from Pythagorean theorem. We're going to do the inverse of squaring. So what's the opposite of squaring? And that is to take the square root. And if you do it to one side, we do it to the other. So we do get our R by itself. And we can go ahead and find the square root of 49. So a reminder to do the square root. It is second, then x squared, we type in 49, equals, and then we get 7. So go ahead and write in 7. That's what we get for our solution. Okay? Hey, that's it for these notes today. Thank you so much again. I'm so proud of all of your hard work. Keep it up, guys, and I can't wait to see you soon.